So how does the anime compare to the manga? Yo, what's good, it's your boy Dude Reviews, and I'll try and keep this video anime only friendly, only comparing the anime scenes from part 3 special chapters episode. So if you haven't seen the recent episode of Attack on Titan, the special chapters, then I highly recommend you not watching this. You have been warned. So the first half of the episode that we covered yesterday was adapting chapter 131 and 132. So now let's jump into chapter 2, Sinners. This second half of the episode adapts both chapter 133 and most of chapter 134, and most of these shots are more or less the same from anime to manga. Although Reiner has a solo shot, instead of sharing the same scene as Pieck and Levi, most of this scene inside the plane is exactly like how it was in the manga. Only real difference are that some of the camera angles in the anime version are slightly changed around from the manga panels. I must admit how solid and really refined some of the character designs of Jean, Connie and Reiner as they're all talking to one another. I was also quite surprised that they slightly reanimated this shot of Reiner and Eren from the Declaration of War episode. I assume they did that because part 1's art style and animation is slightly different to the more refined, detailed, sharp art style from part 3's anime. Some amazing character art and lighting and colouring when the cast go into the past realm. MAPPA made Levi look so much taller and intimidating in the anime shots, but in the manga, he looks like a tiny little boy. Also, Pieck has a massive forehead in the manga panel. The shot of Armin screaming out to Eren to try and listen to them has been beautifully adapted. The expressions, the art, especially Mikasa's face, I mean man, she looks rather nice. This wide shot of Armin screaming out to Eren, we see more of the path's landscape, the sandy plains, and how the camera is higher up from where the characters are standing. You just feel so immersed in the world of paths. Yeah, all of their character arts look pretty damn amazing, but Connie Springer's art, my gosh, look at this boy. Look at the rim lighting, the shading, the expressions. I think this may be one of the best shots of Connie so far in the anime. You get 2 panels of Mikasa talking to Eren in the manga, one wide shot and one close-up shot, but in the anime we zoom more into her backside. I really love how the stars in the background have been blurred out, allowing Mikasa's face to just pop in the foreground. I love when Eren starts to talk, we actually start from the sky and the camera pans down to the characters, so you get to truly appreciate that beautiful starry sky. When our boy Levi Ackerman points towards the baby Eren Jaeger bomb, notice how Jean, Connie and Reiner are not in shots like they are in the manga, but it's just Levi, Armin and Mikasa, while the 4 friends running towards that baby Eren has a similar vibe to the manga. I must admit, this shot of Eren when he's a kid in Mikasa's memory looks quite different to how Eren Jaeger usually looks as a 10-year-old in the anime. It was probably one of the few shots in this episode that made me go, ah, Eren Jaeger? More like Ferren Bager, but it's just a small little nitpick. No biggie. I love how when Mikasa's screaming towards Eren, you actually hear her heart beating in the anime. When Eren talks about stealing the world's freedom to obtain freedom, we don't get a high angle shot like we do in the manga of the 4 guys running towards their friend, but this low angle shot of their legs and in the center, the path's tree. So while most of the shots in this anime version of the manga look more or less the same, I will admit the shot of Eren and Ymir looks extra creepy in the anime. I don't know if it's because of the colors or the shadow going over their heads, but man, something about the 2 of them just looks completely otherworldly, like 2 baby aliens. Especially this close-up shot of baby Eren Jaeger. I mean, look at him. Just look at those eyes. So creepy, man. But I love it and I'm here for it. And you get that beautiful shimmer lighting behind him of the path's tree, just adding to the whole eeriness of this entire sequence. The manga actually shows the scouts more spread out from one another. All the expressions of the scouts returning back into the plane are all beautifully well done. I love how we got to see a full frontal shot of Connie's face in the anime. We don't actually see his reaction as well in the manga. His back is either turned from the camera or you just don't see him that well. The conversation between Lady Kiyomi and Annie Leonhardt barely has any changes from the manga panels, although I must admit that Annie's assets are visually striking in the manga panel. When Best Boy Falco and Gung Ho Gabby come into scene, you don't actually see Annie's face, I love how the camera keeps cutting back and forth from Gabby to Falco in the anime. Both anime and manga shots of Falco thinking of the clouds in the sky are both beautifully drawn and animated. I think it would have been a little bit weird having Falco's head in the middle of the screen while you have clouds behind him. That may have been a little bit too cheesy. After this shot of Annie looking startled towards Falco, we actually have 2 pages worth of content that MAPPA cut out, but I have a theory that they're going to put that in the fall 2023 version of the final season part 4 that we're going to get later on this year. So for now, I won't talk about those 2 pages that were cut out, but stay tuned for my next video when I discuss about the cut content from this episode. I love how we start with this upside down shot of the Marley and Hogwarts Express chugging along this deserted area. While most of the dialogue have been faithfully adapted into the anime version, most of the camera angles and compositions have been completely redesigned and changed over. In the manga, Annie's dad is actually sitting down in the train holding this long rifle, which allows for this really amazing dramatic shot of Annie's dad holding the gun towards this Marleyan soldier. But in the anime version, he holds a small pistol. I'm guessing it was easier for MAPPA to animate and draw this pistol than this long rifle. If you notice in the manga panels of the train cart, the door isn't open like it is in the anime version. Plus, this $1 version of Armin Arlet doesn't actually fold his arms like he does in the anime version. We don't get to see the founding titan in the distance like we do in the manga, with all the Eldians looking at it. It's just a bunch of smoke in the distance in the anime. Although we do see it in this shot, it's super tiny compared to the manga panel. Another interesting change that MAPPA did was that this dialogue between Annie's dad and this Marleyan soldier talking about the airships, they talk about it while they're still in the train, but in the anime they actually start talking about it once they've come out of the train, and we get a completely different view angle of the founding titan and the ships in the sky from manga to anime. I must admit, I do like how dramatic this shot of the manga panel was. Most of this Marleyan general's speech to everyone is more or less the same from manga to anime, although his art looks extra nice. We don't get this close-up shot of Eren's founding titan face like we do in the manga, but in the anime it's this wide shot of his head just dangling with his arms. Dude, his founding titan design looks super gross, but in a good way. The Reiner flashback sequence has been beautifully adapted in the anime. Lovely colors, lighting, character art, but this shot of Reiner's mother, oh my gosh, she looks like a titan about to gobble up her son. But when she starts to break down, we don't see too much of her face like we do in the manga, only a side view of her tears. I must admit, I do like how the manga panel was done. We do see the colossal titans a bit clearly, but in the anime, there's so much steam and smoke covering them that you barely see them. But I suppose it's to give it a more realistic look. And while the sequence of the bombs being dropped on the founding titan below have been more or less well adapted from manga to anime, this shot of the beast titan's transformation has a beauty and elegance that was actually lacking from the manga. Although I must admit his CGI turnaround was a little bit hit or miss. It wasn't all that bad. The chucking of the rocks, the ships blowing up, all beautifully adapted and animated in the anime. The red hue giving that feeling of absolute despair and loss. I mean, just looking at these red shots alone, you almost feel like you're in bloody hell. How on earth could that little girl see all the way into the sky and see the plane? I mean, who does she think she is? Sasuke Uchiha with the Sharingan? The dramatic interior shots of the scouts are more or less the same from manga to anime. I'm so happy that MAPPA made the Beast Titan creepy once again. Very similar to how Season 2's Beast Titan was super creepy and intimidating. And of course, the scouts flying towards the founding titan have a lot more extended sequences that I wasn't expecting, but I'll talk about that in my next video. They made Reiner's transformation super heroic and badass in the anime, while the CGI of the Colossal Titan and the Beast Titan colliding together wasn't perfect. It is just a small nitpick, because all the action sequences of Peak's Cart Titan and the scouts just absolutely made up for it. The final shots of Armin and the crew looking at Eren and Armin giving his speech to Eren has been completely changed from the manga panels. We get more solo shots of Armin's face, and we don't get this widespread page of the Armored Titan, the Beast Titan, Mikasa, Levi, Jean, Connie, the Cart Titan. But man, Eren's founding Titan design is completely different from manga to anime. There's just this eerie vibe he gives off in the manga panel of this shot. The anime looks pretty creepy, but I'm not gonna lie, he looks pretty badass in the anime. He doesn't look quite as creepy as he does in the manga panel, but he's still beautifully drawn in the anime. I do appreciate how we see more of his eyes, and that marks the end of Chapter 2 Sinners. Overall, what a great episode entirely. I'm looking forward to rewatching this episode once again, but like I said earlier before, there have been quite a few pages cut out from the manga panels, particularly from chapter 133 and chapter 134, but I'll cover that in tomorrow's video, so stay tuned for that. But tell me in the comments down below what you guys thought of this. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Which do you prefer, the manga panels or the anime? Tell me. Like this video, subscribe for more Attack on Titan reactions, reviews, comparisons, breakdowns, rankings and more. But thank you for watching, and as always, a boy do the review signing out.